Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift in our Expert on the Microphone series, today we're joined by Dr. Stephen Cohen, an internationally known plastic surgeon and the founder of Faces Plus in San Diego, where he and his team are committed to offering holistic care that evolves with you over time. He's named one of America's best plastic surgeons in 2024 by Newsweek Magazine. Dr. Cohen has been called a master of face transformation and the most exquisite artist in the beauty world by his peers in his field. That's a huge endorsement. He's going to join me today to chat all about how regenerative medicine is taking the aesthetic world by storm and how products like CO2 Lift are complementing its results. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Dr. Stephen Cohen. Welcome, superstar.
Thank you very much.
So excited to have you. So excited. So let's dive right in. You are not just an esteemed plastic surgeon, but also an innovator, developing one of the earliest internal distraction systems, the MID system, right? And holding a patent for the Macropore biodegradable distraction device. But there's one groundbreaking innovation I want to focus on today, and that is LipoCube, a revolutionary device you co-created that utilizes stem cells to enhance facial rejuvenation. This is so intriguing to me. Could you elaborate on the mechanics of LipoCube, its regenerative properties, and how it has transformed the results of procedures like facelifts?
Absolutely. It's a combination of evaluating the way a patient declines. So if you look at each patient or each person, as we age, we go through a growth, development, and a gradual decline. If we look at the face, we can analyze fat compartments, skin, and bone to see more precisely which tissues in you or me are declining. And by using LipoCube, which generates various types of fat, one for structure and one for regeneration, we can actually modify your decline. So, like nuclear decay, the amount you start with, the amount you end with, and the rate that you get there, we can change the rate of aging. So, what we're doing is literally altering how a person ages by a very specific protocol using this device.
Wow. It's clear you are at the forefront of regenerative medicine, and it's especially innovative when you are combining these techniques with other procedures, such as facelifts, to enhance results beyond the ordinary. Now, let's take this even one step further by bringing CO2 Lift into the picture. While the CO2 Lift gel mask has many monotherapy benefits, from increased hydration to reduced wrinkles, it can also be used, apparently, post-procedure to address inflammation, scarring, and speed up that healing process overall. How do you help your patients through the recovery period after a facelift? And how have you seen products like CO2 Lift carboxytherapy aid in both enhancing procedure results and patient care?
That's a great question, Zen. And, anything we can do to influence healing, but one, by reducing inflammation, by improving blood supply, is going to accelerate recovery. And over a long term, when we use devices like CO2 Lift, we're actually able to continue these benefits at home. And that's one of the great things about the product is we apply it actually right after a facelift is done. We take it off in the recovery room when the patient goes home. And then, depending on the patient's particular journey, we use this on the postoperative period quite frequently, almost akin to using hyperbaric oxygen. But these are things they can deliver to themselves at home. They don't have to get into a device. It's not an hour-long process. It's a simple 40-minute mask, feels comfortable when it's on, peels off very easily. So very complementary to regenerative surgery.
So you just said something that I want to go back to. Hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Now, I've heard many of your peers compare CO2 Lift to a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, which makes sense, both as therapy, because both therapies, if you think of the science of it, they utilize oxygen in their respective processes. But I think it goes without saying that using a non-invasive gel mask that can be applied in the office or even at home, to your point, is significantly easier than resorting to a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. So how do you see innovations like CO2 Lift the mask influencing maybe the future of post-surgical care and plastic surgery?
I see it both with pre and post op care. I see it as a preventative maneuver. Anything we can do, just like diet, exercise prolongs our life, anything we can do to prolong cellular senescence or aging is going to be valuable. So not only post-operatively, but it's a very good treatment to be using at home, on a daily basis or a weekly basis, depending on one's budget. And we use it post-operatively for healing, but long-term use of devices like this, in addition to various types of creams and other kinds of regenerative therapies, are going to take over what current cosmetics and cosmeceuticals are doing.
And I love it because it's so simple. And the science is the science is the science. It's clinically researched, it's clinically verified. They have the clinicals on this, which makes me as a patient feel so much more comfortable, right?
That's great to hear, because in your age group, I think that, I worry sometimes that Instagram overly influences, and sometimes it's an illusion. So science to me is critical. And when you start to have data that are showing things like 80% improvements in skin conditions 2 years, 3 years, 6, 8 years later, that's science. But it takes a long time for these techniques to become mainstream. And I think we're right at the beginning of that upswing. I'm very excited because I've been working in the field literally for 20 years. We were using cells like we would get from LipoCube and injecting them into coronary arteries with the cardiologist after heart attacks and improving heart function. So it's a very exciting field.
Fascinating. Now I'm going to shift gears because you're also a pioneer in the use of exosomes in
Yeah.
anti-aging treatments, which is a very hot topic right now. Now I know you co-founded a company making something called a hybrosome. I mean, can you tell
Yes.
me more about what a hybrosome is and how it functions to promote skin
Yes.
rejuvenation and slow the aging process? Because they go hand in glove.
And this is really fascinating, because here we really have science. We work with an amazing group of Harvard and MIT scientists, and the company we founded, Mage, has produced a product called Morphea. Now, what Morphea does, a hybrosome is a bioengineered exosome, meaning that you take a young exosome and you encase it with something called a liposome that you can add amino acids, proteins, etc., so you can target skin. And what happens when you apply this just as a topical agent, the cells receive new software. It's like kind of uploading software to your iPhone. Now these cells, not only does the face look better, but the cells, if you measure telomere lengths, an indication of cell aging, they become longer. So
Mm.
this is what's so fascinating. We've shown in the lab with old skin cells, they become youthful. So it's a Benjamin Button effect. And it's fascinating because, again, not only do you look more beautiful and your skin more radiant, but if you literally take a cell, that cell is healthier. So it's a
This is
longevity play.
I'm coming to see you. I'm leaving the tri-state area and I'm coming to San Diego because you are doing things that no other doctor I've heard of here. And I've interviewed many experts on the microphone. No one is doing this. No one.
No one.
No one.
Well, I'm fortunate to work with an amazing team of people out of London, Turkey, the US, worldwide. And we've come up as a consortium with an entire, longevity program. So it's very exciting. And this
That
plays in beautifully.
Yeah, and that ecosystem is so important to find those minds, those like minds like yours to continue your expansion in the research. Now, I want to go back to exosomes and CO2 Lift. Both have revolutionary skin rejuvenation benefits, but can be even more powerful when paired together. Now,
Absolutely.
in your expert experience, how do the results of the CO2 Lift mask compare to those of exosome treatments? And on the other hand, how do they complement each other when paired?
I will tell you, they are highly complementary. One is uploading new software and one is making cells healthier. So I think the combination is really key. It's really almost like diet and exercise. What you put into the cell or in your mouth has a huge influence on your longevity, but how you exercise, what you do with external things like using CO2 lift, increases oxygen supply, etc., makes the muscles more robust. So totally complementary.
Now, switching gears, aside from your accomplishments and your practice, and you're also an educator serving as a clinical professor at the University of California and directing the Craniofacial Fellowship at Rady Children's Hospital, i- i- you have a list of accomplishments unmatched. Why do you believe education is crucial in the field of plastic surgery for both students and practicing health professionals, especially in an era of such rapid advancements? Like poof, every month something else is coming up.
Well, I've never really thought I knew it all, so I am always been curious to learn more. And I think the only way to learn more is through education and listening to experts that bring to me and to others information that can be easily incorporated into, not only your lifestyle, but your practice, your job, etc. So to me, education is absolutely key if you want to remain open minded and you want to grow as an individual.
I couldn't agree more. And I want to go back to something patients and younger generations are focusing on today, which is, in fact, preventative skincare, with many adopting proactive routines and seeking out specialized care early on before problems arise. How can regenerative medicine and products like CO2 Lift be used not only to treat existing concerns, but also as a preventative measure for maintaining that youthful appearance?
This is a great question, but we know from birth with genetic testing kind of where we're heading. We know, are we going to be a rapid ager? Are we going to be a slow ager? Are we going to get heart disease? Are we going to get Alzheimer's? So once we have this information, we can then design programs around trying to avoid these things and trying to prolong the inevitable. And this is what's exciting about these new kinds of approaches in the aesthetic world is it's really being done through the perspective and the lens of longevity of our tissue, longevity of us as people. So, for instance, one of the things we've done in the London Regenerative Institute is we have an AI program that allows us with a blood test and a finger stick and a medical history to tell you your rate of aging, my rate of aging, my telomere length, and then we design bespoke supplements to address conditions that your genetics just can't quite solve on its own. So the world for you is going to be incredible, incredible.
I love manipulating the aging process. This is music to my ears.
To
Literally
everyone,
music.
to
Yeah.
everyone. But it's
Well,
really viable.
it's and sustainable.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're officially out of time. I couldn't thank you enough for coming on. I mean, your insight, your experience, and more importantly, your expertise are unmatched. And I thank you for being part of the expert on the microphone series.
Thank you for having me, Zan. It's a pleasure to meet you.
That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. And that was the incredible Dr. Stephen Cohen, internationally recognized plastic surgeon and innovator. Definitely check out his practice, Faces Plus at facesplus.com and on the gram at faces_plus. And then you can check out his individual page at Dr. Stephen Cohen. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to CO2lift.com.